Hey everybody, Boxing Ball coming back at you again today. Let me take my headpiece off. So everyone's going to Tinley, you know. I hope everybody has just a fabulous time. It should be a great time. I'm planning on going in October, but let's talk about, you go up there, you get a reptile, right? And you don't really know what you're looking for or what you're looking at. The vendor seems like a nice guy. He looks pretty trustworthy. You may have heard of the vendor. His snakes look clean. They look good. Great. All right. So you make the purchase. But before you do that, ask to look at the animal. I got my Pink Panther here. That's 100% hit for VPI T positive. Now I'm going to look at this snake, okay? I'm going to make sure the snake, don't care if it's a boa, corn snake, whatever it is you're getting. Make sure it's robust. Make sure it's healthy. Make sure you can tell the animal's been well cared for. You know, it doesn't matter if it's a $25 snake or a $5,000 snake. It doesn't matter. Make sure you get a good overall look at it. Like, look at the eyes. Are they clear? Are they cloudy? Is it going into blue? You know, but more importantly, do the eyes look healthy? Are they responsive? You know, and you know, I'm mainly looking for clarity. And I'm not talking about blueness. I'm talking about, is there any dimples in the eyes? You know, like little creases, like where it could have had an eye injury. Is there an eye injury? Stuff like that. Another thing I'm going to look for. Tongue flickering. Is it flicking his tongue? Does it seem active? Is it have a good tongue flick, okay? You know, as long as it seems curious and his tongue's going like this one's doing, alright, that's good things. Okay, we started with the head, great, and we started with the body. I'm going to let it go through my hands a little bit. I'm going to feel it. I'm going to gently put some, squeeze a little bit, see if I can feel the muscles flexing. You know, and if it's a tiny little baby, you can do the same thing. You just have to be more gentle. You know, does it have that good muscle tone? Does it feel like it's a steady snake? You know, or does it look like it's a snake that might be a week old that they're trying to sell you? You know, so make sure that it's healthy looking, feels healthy, looks strong. You know, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to check the body. I'm going to look for any scarring, any signs of, like where it might have had a broken rib or something like that, where it's like got a little puncture sticking out, where it's like a little lump. I'm going to make sure that there's a smoothness to its body. I'm looking for any lumps, any possible defect in this animal. That's what I want to make sure. I want to make sure that I'm getting a healthy snake. It doesn't matter what you're getting. You want a healthy animal. You don't want something that isn't healthy. Now, as I'm holding the animal, you might not be able to hear in a reptile show, especially a place like Tinley. But what you can feel is it has a respiratory infection. Sometimes you can feel that raspiness in your hand when they take that deep breath. You know, so after I do that, I'm going to go back, I'm going to look at the head again. Am I seeing any bubbles blowing? Is the snake breathing funny? Like, is it opening its mouth, gaping, trying to breathe? Not opening up his mouth in a defensive way. I'm talking about, does it appear to be breathing normally? Okay. From what I can tell, yes. I don't see any obvious signs. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lift up and I'm going to let it underneath its belly. How does the belly look? I'm looking for any scale rot, anything like that on the scales. Make sure the scales are nice and healthy looking. You know, another thing I'm going to look at, and I'm going to constantly, and if you notice, I keep going back and forth from the body to the head, because you don't want to get so focused on the head and then go back and then go to the body and then forget. So you want to go back and forth. You want to really make sure you're giving the snake a good look over. You know, so once I do that, I'm going to go back, I'm going to look at the nose, and I'm going to look for any, nose rubs. That has had a nose rub. That can happen. You know, is there an open wound from it doing a nose rub? Is it healed? Things like that. Then another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the snake and I'm going to gently go like this, okay? I'm going to get a little bit closer to this camera here for you guys. I'm going to separate the scales a little bit under there. Is there any mites hiding under there? I'm going to look over here by the mouth. Is there any mites hiding under there? Because that's where a lot of mites like to hide. Now, I don't see any mites. Okay, that don't mean it doesn't have mites. Okay, but, it let me do that. And the snake might not be happy. You might get bit by it. And if the vendor asks you what you're doing, say, hey, look, I'm really wanting to purchase this animal. I have my money in my hand, but I want to make sure I am not picking something up at this show from you. I want to make sure. So they should have no problem with that. And then what you want to do is you kind of want to just gently go like this along their body. And then you want to see if you're getting any debris picked up on your fingers. And you're going to look for like little blackish debris. You might not see the mites, okay? Black mites are these tiny little black little beady thingies that can be sometimes hard to see on a snake. But if you go like this, and then you go like this, and you start looking at your hand, you might find some little mites crawling, or you might crush up some of their little waste or poo, and you'll get like little red tinges in your finger. That means that's a good indication that that snake has mites. So that tells you right there, no, no, no. You know, that guy's not taking care of his animals. And you got to take care of your animals when you're doing it. If you're not doing it, there you go, Priest. Make sure I ain't getting a text from somebody, because I got a lot of people texting me up at Tinley asking me about different things. So trying to keep on top of that. You know, so that's why I want to check. You know, and then another thing you want to do before you make that purchase, you want to look at his other animals. Are the other animals cared in the same way? Are his $5,000 animals cared for the same as his $50 animals? If they're not, if they like look a little thinner, like they're not getting proper food, alright. So after all that, you know, obviously you also want to ask this breeder questions. How long have you been keeping? How long have you been breeding? You know, why do you breed? Why are you choosing the species to work with? What was your goal when doing this breeding that I'm wanting to buy the snake from? You know, things like that. You know, do you have a website? Do you have an Instagram? Do you have a Facebook? Do you have a YouTube? Do you have a Twitter? You know, because, you know, do you have business cards? You know, things like that. Ask him what other snakes he keeps, what other stuff, you know, he might be keeping. You know, try to get as much information on this breeder as possible. And then if you feel comfortable about it and you guys work out a price that's right for both of you, then make that purchase. But you just know that, okay, you made the purchase, right? Now I'm going to get into this, guys. So stick with me here, all right? Okay, I made the purchase. The snake's healthy. I'm going to take the snake home. Okay, I get the snake home. That's great, all right? Now, before this snake goes even into quarantine, at least this is how I do with any of my snakes. I've done it with babies. It doesn't matter. The first thing I'm going to do is, there it is. I am going to get my Frontline spray out. This is the Frontline spray that I use for mites. 100% effective and 100% safe. I have never had any problems treating any of my snakes, from little snakes to big snakes. Stephen Katz, SBK Reptiles, turned me onto this. It's the 500 milliliter one. And it's for dogs, puppies, cats, and kittens. But I have talked to my vet. And I told him that I was doing it. And he said, yes, it will work. And it's fine. So this is also, you know, I talked to my vet about this. So, I definitely checked with my vet. So, obviously, I have a whole bottle here. I won't go through this probably in 5 years. But I keep it on hand at all times. Anytime I get a new reptile, I do it. And even then, I think, once a year we would go ahead and treat, just in case I pick something up by going to someone else's collection or going to a show. So you're probably wondering, Frontline, wow, I never heard of that, or you're a little intimidated. It's alcohol-based, so it dries fast on your snakes. So what you do, and I'm going to show you guys what you do. Obviously, I'm not going to use the Frontline on my snake right now because there's no point. But this is how you do the Frontline treatment. I'm going to use a water bottle so that way you guys can see it. And this is what you want to do with a new snake that you pick up, that you bring home from a reptile show or from any breeder that sends you a snake. I don't care how trustworthy it is. Things slip through the crack. I don't care how careful you inspect that snake at the show. Things slip through the crack. And it might not even be because of that breeder. You know, because when you go to these reptile shows, I'm telling you right now, before I get into the spraying this, showing you this, is when you get home from a reptile shows, take your shoes off outside, take your clothes off in the hallway or entry room or wherever it is. They go right in the washer for me, and I get right in the shower before I go. I walk through my house, and Priest can tell you, I do it to him too. Obviously, you know, the girls, you know, aren't there, you know, they're not there. But when we go to someone else's collection, Priest, and we've been to shows, what's the first thing we do when we get home? We get undressed, walk through the house. You go to one shower, I go to the other shower. Am I right?
Yep.
We take a shower before we do anything with our animals. anything. New clothes, they're getting washed. I leave my shoes outside. Obviously when I go to shows, I have, certain shoes I wear. Well, I have a bunch of shoes, but there's only certain shoes I wear to reptile shows because I do not want to contaminate my reptile. So those shoes go back out in the garage, and I put them in their box, and I put a baggie around them so they stay nice. But yeah, I know that seems extreme, but it's about protecting your collection. Okay, so you get home with this animal. If you don't have this Frontline, you can order it on Amazon. It'll be there the next day or within 2-day shipping, depending on what you want to do. So if you have mites, even if you have mites, this treatment you won't have mites after this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a bin like this, and obviously I'm going to do it in a well-ventilated area. I usually do it outside, okay? If you can't do it outside, it's alright. It's nothing that's going to hurt you. But I'm going to sit here, and I'm going to go like this. I'm going to spray it in my hands just like that, a couple squirts. And then I'm going to rub it in my hands like this, okay? So you'll get it in your hands like this. Then you're going to pick up the snake, and you're going to gently just go like this, okay? Now, this does dry very fast because it is alcohol-based. If that happens and you're only halfway through, that's okay. Just set the snake back down. Just throw that little tub on it. Reapply the hand. So, do that, undo this, hurry up, pick the snake back up, and finish it off like this. That's all it is. And you're not drenching the animal, okay? Then if you want to get under the chin, you just sit there and you go like that with a little bit of it, and you do a little bit of that. Now, if you notice when I'm doing this, I'm not getting it in the eye, okay? I don't get it in the eye, even when my snakes are defensive. I've done this and never got it in their eye or in their mouth. Okay, that's how you get under the chin, that's how you get the head. Once that happens, just hold the snake, set it down, and obviously I didn't bring up another bin, but put it in a fresh bin, put the lid off, take it back down into whatever your quarantine room or your snake room or whatever it is you happen to be doing at that moment where you're keeping that snake. If you have a collection that got mites, obviously you can take it back. Then, guess what? With this treatment, Frontline, guess what? I don't have to change my bedding. Obviously, I'm going to change the bedding anyway. I'm going to clean the cage. I'm going to just, but with this, I just put it on that snake. So that's going to kill any mites. Mites have eggs. They travel they get on your feet. They travel, okay? Once I treat all my snakes, I won't have any mites. Even the eggs that hatch will crawl on the snake, will bite the snake, they will die. And usually I do one treatment when they go into quarantine and one treatment when they come out. If you have mites already, you want to do one treatment and then wait 2 months and redo the treatment just to make sure you got everything, and that'll take care of your mite problems. No more get away from Nexus, or I can't even think of the name of that junk. Them pest strips, those aren't even safe for humans to breathe. So, if you're using pest strips or using them, all that stuff, that's not even safe for human lungs to breathe. So can you imagine putting that in a pest strip inside your reptile cage now? I mean, that's like what I'm saying. That's like keeping your snake in, a wood crate back in the day. This is something that works. And my vet approved it. And so there's no reason. And then that way, now you just brought this awesome snake home, okay? Now, what you want to do after you do the Frontline treatment is you want to take the water bowl out for 24 hours. After 24 hours, you can put the water bowl back in. I do want to put that out there. Now, after you do all that, the snake's had 24 hours to chill. You put its water bowl back in. You can get it out. You can sit there and start enjoying your snake. Now, remember, with the new snake, you want to leave it in quarantine for 90 days or more until you know it's parasite-free, respiratory infection-free, it's eating, it doesn't have any digestive problems and stuff like that. And make sure you ask the breeder, has it regurged before? Especially if you're going to buy a BCC, a green tree python, or an Amazon tree boa. I mean, an emerald tree boa, sorry. And an Amazon. Make sure they aren't regurging. Those are snakes you got to watch for regurge. So that's what you do. So now that you went and you did that, now you can enjoy the new animal you just picked up from Tinley or any reptile show or any breeder you get it from. So that's just my little helpful tip. Hopefully this helps you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy the Tinley show. Hopefully you guys get this Frontline. I'm telling you right now, it's Frontline spray, 500 milliliters or 17 fluid ounces. This stuff will last you for years. I have a huge collection. You guys know this. And this stuff works. So I just don't sleep on this, guys. Anyway, this is Boxing Boa. Hidden priest behind the camera as always. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you learned something today. Please like, click, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them down below and I will be happy to get back to you guys. You guys know I always do. Have a blessed and positive day because you know I am. This is Boxing Boa saying peace.